What's up, everyone? It's Adar coming at you with another episode of Startup Engineering Daily. Let's hop right into it. So, our first story is from Guillermo and Vercel. They launched a new best practices list of skills and markdown documents that can be used for avoiding re-renders or problems in React. Definitely worth bringing in to Claude Code or Cursor, just into the repo in general. And here's the Vercel tweet as well. They called it React Best Practices for Coding Agents. So really cool. Definitely the prompts, the markdown, all of that is the most important piece. If it has good context, then it can really work well. And definitely there's going to be more output on this, and a lot of people just trying to revolutionize their prompts. I actually think that's why Claude Code isn't open source, is because they're trying to hide their prompts. So that's pretty interesting to me. And that kind of leads into the next story. So this story has a bit of background, but essentially Claude Code blocked everyone from using the $200 max plan with other IDEs, which I think is valid. I think they should have been more explicit that the $200 max plan was only available for Claude Code, or was like a Claude Code exclusive promo. But they blocked Open Code. They blocked the other services like Cursor from using your Claude Code Max API key. People are pissed. So actually, George Hotz, founder of CalAI, and just a huge legend in the engineering community, has basically said that Anthropic's making a huge mistake. He's not using Claude Code anymore, even though he likes it. So he's trying out other models. People are really reactive to this stuff. They really get angry when they feel that they've been slighted, and programmers want the best deal. They don't want to feel like they're being taken advantage of or supporting a bad system. So it makes sense. But I really like this tweet, and I completely agree, which is that they didn't block Open Code. The API is still available, but they are running a Claude Code exclusive promo, which they didn't make clear enough, and they should have. But you can use Claude Code, you can use Opus 4.5. It's not like they're hiding the models. But if you want to use Opus outside of Claude Code, you're going to have to pay the API costs, which are significantly more expensive than the $200 max plan. So definitely a lot of drama. We'll have to keep our eyes open on it. I'm still super into Claude Code. I'm using it all the time. I pretty much only use Cursor for an IDE, and I just wish Claude Code had a better file viewer, or just a file viewer in general. But I'm sticking with Claude Code for now for sure, and just running up the usage as much as possible. This next story involves employment at the company called Thinking Machines. I'm not too familiar on who they are, but I guess they are kind of clouded up. I know that they had these squat racks with custom made plates. I saw a tweet on that yesterday or a couple of days ago. But essentially the two co-founders have left and are rejoining OpenAI. And it's interesting because they just tweeted that they're going to be working together. I saw this one from Fiji, I guess her name is, that they're just coming to work together. But if you look at Kylie Robinson's Twitter, apparently Barrett was doing unethical conduct. Lord knows what that means. And CEO Mira Murati, who is ex-CTO of OpenAI and CEO for about 2 seconds, announced that they have been removed. And Sumit Chintala, I don't know who that is, but hopefully I said his name right, is taking over as CTO of Thinking Machines. I don't know if they even have a product, so not really that important, but these are the ex-OpenAI people, so they have cemented their names in the industry. And next, we just have a quick one from Boris Cherny, who is the creator of Claude Code, that you can press tab to add more context to suggestions from Claude or responses. I knew you could do this for no. I don't know if you can do this for yes on the current version I'm on, but it is great to see that they can do it for both, because I do want to do that sometimes. I'll be like yes and, or even yes, but do it this other way. So definitely a cool little quality of life improvement. And then Zach Yadagari, I don't know how you say his name, but he's the creator of CalAI and just really known in the industry as kind of indie hacker taken to millions of revenue. So really interesting guy. He has a great idea, which is that someone should build Cluely for old people, which essentially I guess would just be a desktop app, using Tori or Electron, probably taking screenshots, I guess, or somehow monitoring the applications running to see if they're on a phishing site or something like that. I think it would be super useful. People were talking about distribution. I saw someone say the offspring would buy it for the parents. Definitely a weird way to frame it, but would be true. You could sell it to millennials who want to give it to their parents, or even Gen Z who want to give it to their older parents. So definitely a cool idea. Honestly, might even try this out. This could be something really cool to make with Claude Code. I do have a desktop app in Tori that I've been making with Claude Code, and it's working great, that I plan to launch on the Mac App Store. So even this could be another product or just something to try out. Next, we kind of have this interesting multi-day story. A lot of people saw this tweet yesterday. I just kind of marked it as being totally fake. And essentially what it says is that someone ran a part of the DoorDash engineering org, and when an engineer would cause an outage, they would assign the revenue cost to them and just make them feel bad, which is so crazy. You look at the replies, people are like, this makes no sense, super ratioed, and it just leads to hiding things, right? But actually the former CTO of GitHub tweeted that this is a nightmare tweet if true, and essentially is just completely against it. I think the original tweet's fake, so I'm surprised that people are like so into it, but obviously people think of engineering as kind of like you don't want to throw anything on them, and they say if there's an outage, then it's a systems problem, it's not a person problem. It's hard to say, you can look at that really old YouTube video of GitLab deleting one of their production databases and be like, yeah, that's a system problem, that wasn't really the engineer's fault. But there is some responsibility in engineering, and we do hold the keys to these super important systems. So there is kind of an ethics and philosophy aspect to it, but honestly, I think the original tweet's faked, and I'm surprised that so many people believe it. Next, just a super quick tweet from Theo saying that he's back in Cursor and, having an actual text input box and pasting an image and can see it. I'm not sure why he's going back to Cursor. I wonder if it's part of the Anthropic drama. Seems like a lot of people are just super mad and not even using Claude Code. It's kind of virtue signaling in a way, but I totally respect it, whatever people want to use. I'm just such a big fan of Claude Code, and using Opus 4.5 through the API or through Cursor is just so much more expensive than the promo they're offering. So I'm not sure, but it is kind of interesting. We'll see where people evolve. I know people really like Open Code. I haven't used it. I've only used Claude Code and Codex, which I like both of them, but I know people are big fans of Open Code and really mad, but we'll just have to see. And, you can always use the API, but it is way more expensive, obviously, and you're kind of subsidizing the people who are using Claude Code, which is a point that Theo has made before in one of his videos. And then next we have a new launch from Claude Code from this guy, Tariq, who has been really interesting. I don't know what his role is exactly. I guess probably software engineering, but maybe product. But there's a now tool search in Claude Code. And essentially what it seems like is if you have MCPs, they load everything and all the tools into the context preemptively, but they're making it so now that when your MCP tool descriptions would use more than 10% of context, that they'll use search instead. So just minor optimizations, but really cool to see. And Claude Code getting so many updates, as a big user, I'm a big fan. So we'll keep our eye on it. This UI is kind of interesting, but I don't really understand what it's selling me. I guess it's just context. So I guess the context of tools is going down, but I don't know if this 8% is good or if what the baseline is. And then the last story for today is actually yesterday. There was a new security release for Node.js with a critical bug affecting, I guess it was React is the main piece, but for some reason any APM tool, Datadog, OpenTelemetry, etc. were also affected. There is a deep dive from Theo. He is a big contributor to Node.js and runs Platformatic, as CTO. And, there's some deep dive. Talks about how async local storage, I guess, was the issue, or a Stack Overflow, essentially, which is always a security risk. So now there's a new CVE and a new release, and I guess they used Vercel for the CVE, which is interesting. I guess it's just an image. But yeah, probably need to upgrade to this latest 20.20, 22.22, 24.13, or 25.3. This kind of stuff interests you and you want to talk with some like-minded people, join the Audinato Discord in the description. Thanks.